It is Friday, September 6th, 2024, and we are here to check on the roof, which is almost done. So this is the south roof of the house, and it has been zip boarded. It still needs to be done, and it looks like they've made some progress here as well, but this part still needs to be done, and they're working on the extension. But this part of the porch is done, and the south side of the roof is done, and also the south side of the porch roof is done. So it's just these last bits here that you can see in this shot that need to be done, and we're hoping they can be done today, or at least made watertight, because it is supposed to pour buckets tomorrow and then be nice again, and then we really don't want any more water coming in to the house. Roof has quite a steep pitch on it, which is great for snow falling off in the winter, but a little bit less great when you are putting a new roof on. I think that's Andrew. That's Andrew up there. He said he was going to try to close off the chimney before the rains come tomorrow, so the rain doesn't go down inside. Get a sense now of what she's going to look like with the roofs done. We are going to bring that green down. We're going to bring the green down, and it's going to be echoed in the lattice work underneath here and in the porch railings and on the porch decking. So she'll be more green yet. But that is a lovely, lovely sight to see. Since it's such a beautiful day, let's take a break from watching the roof repairs and explore the yard. I know they've been doing some work on clearing the barn, and en route to the barn, I may have gotten distracted a little bit by this brick pile, which is another entry on the long list of things I never thought I'd get excited about until I did. So, brick pile first, then let's explore the barn. I do believe, if I'm correct, that these are the bricks that the crew saved for us from the main chimney, and I am so excited to be able to repurpose these and give them new life on the property. I don't quite know what they are. They're rustic. They're all quite rough. I don't know if they were always that way or if because they were mortared in and the mortar over time is, sunk in and stuff, but I'm excited. I don't know what we would do with them yet. I'm thinking we could do a small little pathway, or we could do edging on a bed. I'm not 100% sure, but I quite like them, and I'm glad that they saved them for us. And I like being able to repurpose something that was already on the property. This is one of the beams they pulled out from the barn. You can see where it's cracked. You can also see just how old this wood is. They didn't use any nails when they constructed this. Everything was done by joints. Old bicycle frame here, which maybe isn't all that old. It's just rusty and therefore looks old. It's another one of the beams from the barn, not one of the major ones, obviously. Or split off real wood on the inside. They don't make them like that anymore. I don't remember if I've shown you guys this big window before, but it's sitting out here for several days, and I don't know what we're going to do with it yet, but I'm really excited about it. Let's zoom back so you can actually... It's quite large. I think it's almost as long as I am. Clearly designed to be a big picture window. We'll have to figure out where it goes. When we were here a couple days ago, they pulled a collection of 1971 Reader's Digest out of the attic. I'm sensing a theme. Here's Best Buys and NASA and the Bahama Islands, 1964. There's some letters here from the early 70s, it looks like. And I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there, I can't see it in the shade. There, it says the official highway map of Vermont, 1969. So some of the stuff has been, maybe not in the barn for 40 years, but somebody's held on to it for all these years. Part of me wants to go through all the different pieces of paper and learn more about what they are and who left them there. And the other part of me says that is a lot of grungy material to go through. I did not end up going through every single piece of paper there, although I do dearly wish that they were in better condition and I had the time to do so. A lot of them are paperwork from the late 60s and early 70s having to do with an airline. They're either letters from the Mohawk Airline or they're letters from a pilots association, and so I figure a lot of them are not personal to the person who owned the house. A lot of them are standard correspondence from either the Airline Pilot Association or the airline itself, and so I figure that if that's important for history to have, they've probably got copies of some of that somewhere. But I did want to show you one of the letters from the Airline Pilots Association because it's part of the history of the house, and if you have watched any of the previous videos, you'll know that we don't know anything about the history of the house because the owners didn't tell us anything about the history of the house. So going through the paperwork in this barn is a tantalizing glimpse into who might have lived here, or at least who stored paperwork here from the 1970s. Dated May 1, 1970, from the Airline Pilots Association in Washington, D.C. Gentlemen, at its April 1970 meeting, the Executive Committee considered a request from the National Airlines Master Executive Council that the association membership be balloted to provide benefits for the national airline pilots who've been out of work for almost 3 months because of a work stoppage of the agents on the airline represented by the Airline Employees Association. The letter goes on to describe the proposed changes and when they would take place and the benefits, and ends with, please note that a secret ballot is involved. Insert your ballot in the inner ballot envelope, seal it, and place it in the self-addressed lockbox transmittal envelope and mail it before the stated postmark date of May 21, 1970, and then is signed by the president. There's another piece of paper, and up in the right-hand corner it says Ferguson J. It's a memo to all pilots at Mohawk Airlines from the manager of the Flight Operations Analysis on October 7th, 1970, reminding them that it is time to bid on their vacation days for the next year. This pile of paper as well has James Ferguson listed on it from the 70s, which is the same James, I assume, J. Ferguson, whose name we saw written on a memo about vacation scheduling. Which is interesting because the owner was Bob. The owner from the 1960 to 2013 was Robert Ferguson. We bought it from a James Ferguson. So very common names, Robert and James. Perhaps father to son or father to nephew, or who knows. When we came out to the property today, I was expecting that the most exciting thing would be seeing that the roof is almost done, and that was mucho exciting, but I honestly really enjoyed looking through the paperwork that has been uncovered in the barn pile, and I hope that it gives us something to look up and research and a little bit more information to follow up on in the future. Our intention with this property is not just to restore it to a livable condition, but to steward it and to take care of it. And to us, that means knowing its history and knowing who lived there before. And so these pieces, who was James Ferguson, Mohawk Airlines pilot? How was he related to Robert Ferguson, who owned the property? More questions, but also more specific details, right? We have times and dates, and hopefully when we have some time to go to the Historical Society and start talking to the extended neighborhood, we can fill in some of the gaps around these names and pieces of paper. So thank you very much, as always, for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you in our next update. Bye for now.